All right, y'all. Time to review my time out in Santa Clara watching the San Francisco 49ers training camp out there in California. What it looked like. The receivers, Brandon Aiyuk, his emergence, Deebo Samuel, Trey Lance, the defense. We're going to talk about all that and more right here on the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. Let's go.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Crocker over midfield. He'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Croc Talk TV podcast. Peace.
Welcome to another episode of the San Francisco 49ers Morning Show. I'm your host, former NFL and AFL defensive back, Eric Crocker. And of course, as always, got to run through some of the things I need y'all to do, and that's go listen to Locked On 49ers with myself and Brian Peacock. The weekend episode is premiering at 8 a.m. Pacific, so make sure y'all tune in to that. Also, Locked On NFL Draft with myself and my co-host Ryan Tracy. And Underdog Fantasy, go to underdogfantasy.com or download the app Underdog Fantasy so you can do all your fantasy stuff, football, baseball, basketball, wagers. If you're into player props, over-unders, Underdog Fantasy is the app for you. Make sure you go download the app right now. Again, Underdog Fantasy. Download the app or go to underdogfantasy.com and use promo code Crocky. Whatever you deposit up to $100, they will match it. It's exciting. It's fun. I've already started during training camp. If y'all want to follow along in training camp, make sure you go do that right now. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. I see everything going up. 5 flames. A lot of people feeling good. Good morning, Brian. See you in here. Here we go. We got Aaron. Let's go. I see everybody in here. What's up? What's good? Oh, there's my son D in the chat. What's good, D Weezy? Yes, sir. Man, feeling good. I got in late last night. I think I got in from California. First of all, I missed my flight. Had a little bit too much fun with some of my homies. What was that? So that must have been, Saturday night? And, ended up, I don't know what happened. I just know I woke up in the backseat of a rental car. So I don't even know. But I missed my flight. And then the rest of the day, flights were trash. I ended up getting into Arkansas at about 11:30 at night. Had to drive an hour and a half home from the airport. And then I had to record with Brian Peacock. So, I was up at 1:30 a.m., 2 a.m. recording with Peacock before I got to get a little bit of rest. And I'm back now. So shout out to everybody that watched the premiere with Tracy Sandler. That was awesome. I got to interact with y'all in the chat while it was going on. I wasn't sure exactly how whole thing was going to work. I haven't premiered anything on this channel to have anything compared to, but it's done great. Got plenty of views. The interaction was awesome throughout that time. So shout out to all y'all that tuned in live. So here we go. Let's talk about some of these things. I want to start with the receivers. All right. And it's very clear that one receiver has taken his game to the next level, and that's Brandon Aiyuk. Brandon Aiyuk, also someone who was in the quote-unquote doghouse of Kyle Shanahan. And if training camp is any indication of his usage, if training camp is any indication of his trust between him and his quarterback, then Brandon Aiyuk is going to have a big year. Now, the others, all right, so you have obviously Brandon Aiyuk. He's doing his thing. However you want Brandon Aiyuk to win, whatever you were looking forward to seeing for Brandon Aiyuk, he's winning that way. You want him to whoop a guy off the line, win vertically, he's doing that. You want him to win at the contested point with contested catches, the catch point with contested catches, he's doing that. You want him to win with routes underneath, dig routes, slants, all those things, he's doing that as well. So he's winning every which way possible, whether it was one-on-ones, whether it was team. I didn't see any 7-on-7, so everything that I saw was just pure 11-on-11. He's winning every which way you can. And I felt like every time they targeted him, he was catching the ball. So they targeted him early, they targeted him often, and I thought he did a terrific job. It's very clear that Trey Lance has a rapport with him in the sense of they've been working together a lot in the offseason, right? I think we saw that. And you're able to see that with their connection. At least and again, everything that we talk about today is from my days and what I watched, all right? And I will reference some stuff from yesterday that I did not see, but the most of what we'll talk about here is from the 2 days that I was there. I got to watch them in pads on Friday and Saturday morning. All right. But Brandon Aiyuk, it was very clear. It's like, this dude's dominant. He's primed to have a terrific season. And that was really awesome to see just kind of his growth. And, we've talked a lot on here about the expectations of Brandon Aiyuk and what it looks like and where he's at. And it looks like he's like trending towards being able to reach whatever expectations anyone have for him. He has worked really hard to put himself in position to be able to do that. All right. So that was really cool to see. He looked like the best player on the field. And you've been hearing the reports of that. So I don't think that's anything that's shocking to you or anyone in this chat on how he's been doing. It pretty much was exactly what people said was happening. And I got to watch it live, and it was. Now, let's talk about some of the other guys, and then I'll get into Deebo Samuel as we get closer to Trey Lance talk. But one-on-ones is for offense, right? You have a quarterback with no pressure. You have receivers that's able to, set their routes up and do all that, etc. From my experience with one-on-ones, they say, now again, I'm not saying this happened to me, but they say that receivers or offense is supposed to win 90% of the reps, right? Because the quarterback can kind of just stand there and throw to a spot. The receivers did not win 90% of the reps. Now, Brandon Aiyuk won 90% of his reps that I watched, but the other guys did not. I will tell you who kind of stood out to me in one-on-ones. And I like to view one-on-ones just what are the defensive backs working on, right, with their coverage. What are the receivers working on with some of the techniques and things that they're utilizing. And it was very clear watching Ray McCloud that he's definitely someone who knows how to free himself up. I cannot say that was consistent for the rest of the receivers. Matter of fact, if I was a quarterback throwing to those receivers in one-on-ones, I would have been extremely frustrated. They were not getting any separation. And even when they were catching passes, they had corners draped all over them. It was a dogfight. Every single rep for the receivers, again, outside of Aiyuk, and even then on the last day I was there, who guarded Aiyuk first? Man, was it Dennard? Dennard ran the route for Aiyuk, undercut the corner route. Trey Lance tried to throw it, put some touch on it, and it was just like, whoa. I have to be, the quarterbacks almost in one-on-ones had to be perfect every single time. I'm not used to seeing that. Now, there were downfield shots. Talked about Brandon Aiyuk, his connection with Trey Lance, throwing downfield, hit him on the money several times. Danny Gray caught a couple go routes downfield. Saw him catch one from Trey Lance in the last practice. It was pretty. But for the most part, those guys were working so hard to try to get open. And I was just not, you're really used to seeing receivers in that kind of a dogfight. Now, maybe the 49ers just have the greatest DBs ever, right? So there could be a scenario where that's the case. But for the most part, what it looked like to me, the receivers just really getting challenged. And like Jawan Jennings. Now, listen, some of these things, Deebo Samuel. One-on-ones is not going to be like where Deebo Samuel makes his money. When you watch Deebo Samuel and we know what he's capable of doing, one-on-ones, I don't think you're going to walk away from one-on-ones and be like, oh, man, like Deebo got strapped. He can't, win, right? Like he can't win. Like he's not going to be good. He's going to have a down year. Like, no. Deebo's going to catch his slants. He's going to have his yards after catch. He's going to catch his crossing routes. He's going to do all those things, and he's going to be just fine. The one thing I did notice, and there were a couple times Trey Lance threw deep balls to him, and I was expecting Deebo, because Deebo is fast. He can run. But I think his greatest attribute, which Madden kind of showed this as well, his acceleration. I think his acceleration on Madden is like 95. So when you see Deebo get the ball and burst out of there, it's as good as anyone's in the league. Now, the one thing I did not see, and I was hoping to see, and I saw a couple opportunities for it, and it just wasn't there, was Deebo's his ability to hit that second gear while the ball's in the air. So first, and this is the first day, Trey Lance threw a go route to him in one-on-ones, and the ball was up there. It was hanging up there, and I'm like, oh, he's going to turn on the jets, and he's going to run underneath the ball. And you see a lot of fast dudes be able to do that. They're running, they track the ball. I got to hit another gear, and they track the ball in. Did not see that from Deebo Samuel. All right, so I'm like, okay, just one throw, okay, slightly overthrown, et cetera, whatever. Well, there was another opportunity in team that day. Trey Lance airs it out to Deebo Samuel, and he's blanked. He's blanket. Like, he has Emmanuel Mosley guarding him, and Mosley is just, stride for stride, step for step, never worried about the speed of Deebo Samuel vertically. And Trey Lance throws it out there, and I was like, okay, this is another opportunity for Deebo, turn on the Jets and run underneath the ball, and he just couldn't do it. Now, maybe that's just not Deebo's game, and if I had to guess, I would say Deebo will probably go back and talk to Trey Lance and say, look, when you throw the go route to me, don't throw it to where, I have to make the perfect throw and catch it in stride. Just put it on my body. And we've seen Deebo Samuel catch that vertically down the field. We watched it against the Chicago Bears, right? Where he ran a post route. And when you see how Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball, it was not to lead him to hit him in stride. It was just put the ball on me, and then I'll box a cornerback out and make the catch. We also saw it in the game against Baltimore Ravens. They haven't taken too many deep shots with Deebo Samuel, but Baltimore Ravens deep ball where he just kind of bullied Marcus Peters at the catch point. Again, just put the ball on me and let me go get it in that way. We also saw a Detroit Lions game where the ball kind of fluttered. How Jimmy Garoppolo threw the ball kind of while he was getting hit, ball fluttered. He found it, caught it, made the adjustment, and ran it for a touchdown. So I would assume with those guys, again, they didn't have any type of real offseason together. Deebo was doing his thing, and obviously he said, hey man, he wants to work out, come to Florida or whatever. Also, Deebo contract disputes, so you could see that they just have to continue to kind of build that rapport. That was one thing that really stood out to me, at least with the vertical ball. Now, underneath, and this is something I feel like it's not really talked about. Everybody's talking about the connection between Trey Lance and Deebo Samuel and whatnot. And there were some things, I want to say like maybe the day before I got there, where miscommunication, Deebo sat his route down, Trey Lance threw the go route, and they weren't on the same page there, right? So like I think vertically they have to really work on that connection. Underneath, I didn't see any issues. Third downs, Trey Lance was going to Deebo Samuel. He caught several third down plays. They had like these situations where it was like third and long. It was like first down. They backed him up. They just called holding. They throw a flag every time, and then it would be like second and long, third and long, etc. And he was going to Deebo Samuel. He caught a few of those. I thought in that drill, and I'll talk about Trey Lance's first day, but he completed like, I think on third downs that day, 4 out of 5 third downs with his arm. And he was 1 for 1 rushing. So he was essentially on third down, 5 out of 6? And the one miss, he completed 5 out of 6 passes. There was one where he threw a completion, but it was short of the sticks. So there was that. But they were doing the third down drills, and he did extremely well. But he threw a couple to Deebo Samuel. We also saw it on the 2-minute drill drive that they did the second day I was there, which would have been Saturday. And he had it was like a 3rd and 4, really big play, and drops back, boom, hits Deebo Samuel for a first down. All right, so the connection with Deebo and Trey Lance isn't bad underneath. It's the figuring each other out while throwing the go route. So that was one of the things that kind of stood out to me the most about the connection between Deebo and Trey Lance. Deebo is catching passes, just not really the vertical ones. That's where they are hit and miss. And I think because you see it so much, like you just see the downfield shots and them not connecting. I think a lot of people are like, oh my gosh, like, they got to keep working on it. And they do have to figure that part out. But overall, I think they'll get it. Underneath stuff is there. So I think I saw Trey Lance throw a stop route. He threw a good stop route or out route to Deebo Samuel, and that was good. That was a completion. Yeah, really is more so like vertical shots. All right. But the other receivers now, let's talk about some of these guys. I'd say Juwan Jennings. He caught some passes, and again, it is training camp. Ray McLeod, I feel like there should be a battle, right? Because I think we all kind of just, Juwan Jennings, third receiver, right? And you watch him out there, and it's like, okay, catches a couple passes or whatever. He had some drops, but Ray McCloud is like showing out. He's catching passes. Now, again, it's not always against the ones. Sometimes it is on a 2-minute drive, and we'll get to that. Trey Lance threw a 15-yard strike to Ray McCloud for a touchdown as time expired. So sometimes it is against the ones. Sometimes it's not, whatever. But it seems like he just continues to make plays. He's like this. He's almost kind of looks like Richie James a little bit out there, where you see like this dynamic ability, like this route running ability, etc. And he's freeing himself up. I think the thing that might keep him off the field, if anything, is Juwan Jennings. They like him in that slot role because, well, he's a great blocker, and they run behind Juwan Jennings a lot. So can they run behind Ray McCloud? I would assume that's not something that they want to do, and that could be something that helps Juwan Jennings get more snaps than Ray McCloud. But, and here's a good one right here. Ray is returning punts, Jennings still 3. So remember back, and Kyle Shanahan talked about this. Kyle said when it came to Ray McCloud, he watched his film as a receiver. And he was like, hey, I like this guy. This is a guy that I want on the team, etc. And then it was like, oh, by the way, like, he does special teams. Because Kyle doesn't watch. He's not watching special teams film. Kyle's watching all 22 on these receivers that they're potentially signing. It's offense. So Kyle's not the one that's going to, I need to sign this guy because he's a good return specialist. Like, no, like, he liked him as a receiver for some reason because he had, like, really low yards per catch. But I don't know if it was just we're signing him as a punt returner. It sounds like they like him as a receiver, and then he just had the punt return ability. So I think with the fans, a lot of people were like, oh, man, you signed Ray McCloud, punt returner. I think Kyle was thinking like, nah, like this is a receiver I want to utilize on my offense. And, oh, by the way, he can return punts? Oh, cool. That's what it sounded like to me when I heard him talk about it. All right, here we go. Hopefully we'll see more tight end sets. I think, and my guy Brian Peacock, he's been talking about this. He's like, man, I think he's a hidden tight end. Like he thinks Juwan Jennings is kind of with how he's utilized, is more like a move tight end. All right. So I know a lot of y'all in here right now, about 300 of y'all. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Let's get into what I saw from Trey Lance, and then we'll get into the defense as well. All right, so again, I can't speak on anything from when I was not there. I'll touch a little bit on Sunday from some of the things I heard. And obviously, I think some people were like, that was like his worst practice. What I saw from Trey Lance on Friday morning and Saturday morning, he was good. Like, he looked good. He completed, I wasn't there to chart. I don't want to do the whole stat charting things and stuff like that. And again, I'll talk about some of my concerns or whatever, or things that pop up. But I just I see him start off and I'm like, okay, completed his first 2 passes or whatever. And then he had like 3 straight passes that were incomplete that day. This is Friday. One was a drop by Turner, number 17. So should have been 3 for 3. He had a drop by Turner. And then the next one, it was like this. I didn't see how the route started, but I'm assuming it was a wheel route. It was trying to hit Hasty out the backfield. And Hasty ran like kind of like a wheel or whatever. And he was just blanked by Azeez Al-Shaair. Great coverage by Al-Shaair. There was a safety over the top. And I was like, unless he throws it somewhere else, he made the right decision with how he threw that ball to where it was like, hey, either Hasty's going to be able to run underneath it to the sideline and make a catch, or nobody's getting this. But it won't be picked off. All right. So that was what I saw in that one. And then the third miss in that row right there was a go route to Deebo Samuel, where if I had to guess, I think they'd go back to the huddle and Deebo Samuel would tell him, hey, put the ball on me. Don't have me run underneath the ball. That's not necessarily my game, but I definitely can catch it and box out the cornerback, which he had inside leverage on Emmanuel Mosley. So there is a way where you just kind of lead him a little bit and he catches it that way. All right. So he had those, but then he came back and he was firing again. Boom, boom, boom. Hit some guys. I charted him at 8. He completed 8 out of 12 passes on that day in team. and one was a shovel pass. So take that for what it's worth. All right, so really, essentially kind of 7 out of 11 on that day. And if you take out the shovel pass, because that's kind of a gimme, right? But like if it was an NFL game, they would say like this is a reception, all right, or pass completion or whatever. So he completed 8 out of 12. Now, I thought he was pretty sharp. He looked comfortable. He was standing in the pocket, tall. There were some plays where I'm like, was he sacked or was he not? Like, it's kind of hard to tell, but he stood in there and completed the pass. All right, now I'm heading into the next day, and this is Saturday. So essentially Friday, I thought was a good showing by Trey Lance. I thought he looked good, sharp, stood in the pocket, delivered passes, etc. Didn't see him use his legs or anything. It was mostly just within the offense, hit guys over the middle. Like it was solid. The next day, I thought, and this was Saturday now, I thought he started off, like, it was cool. Like, it wasn't anything too crazy. Then you see a miss. I remember him throwing this out route, and I'm like, you probably won't get that out route out. It was just like, it felt incomplete. But for the most part, starting like both days in one-on-ones, thought he was solid throwing the go routes. He completed a deep go route to Danny Gray in one-on-ones, etc. So he was definitely still pushing the ball down the field. Come team, there were some solid completions. There were a couple of incompletions or whatever. I'd say going into the 2-minute drill, it was, I guess you could say, underwhelming. I think you would have walked away just saying like, it was whatever. All right. And then the 2-minute drill starts, and he's boom, 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 touchdown. He used his legs multiple times. And I'm like, wow, okay, he was 5 out of 6. His one incompletion was something that I guess could happen. We could see for sure. It was a high pass in the flats to Hasty. And it went off of Hasty's hands, kind of like it went off of both of his hands, but it was high for a short running back out of the backfield. So I thought he showed total command. Oh, and by the way, this was after an interception, a pick six. So the pick six, he threw a pick six to Jimmy Ward. They did like a all-out zero blitz, and you could see him, you could see kind of the pocket collapse, and he looks left, and he doesn't like it, and he's like, I know I have my check down, I have my outlet to the right, so he kind of flips and throws in the flat to the running back, and Jimmy Ward said, jumped it, boom. And it was like a pick six. It probably was like a 10-yard pick six because they were already backed up, but you could see where he looks here, and he tries to come back, he flipped, and he's like, let me hit my running back for a check down, kind of knowing. So that, if you want to take a positive from a pick six, knowing where guys were, I thought he did that well. But he sees his running back in the flats, he goes to throw it, and boom, it's pick six, right? Jimmy Ward. Awesome play. So then the very next time he gets the ball is the 2-minute drill. First it was Nate Sudfeld went first against the twos. Nate Sudfeld pretty much went 3 and out. So now it's Trey Lance's turn. He's up and starts off, boom, hits, I want to say it was Deebo Samuel over the middle. Nice game. Then he comes back. I think that was when he had the incompletion to, Hasty. And then after that, it was boom, George Kittle. Boom, Deebo Samuel. And then he moved with his legs, drop back. Oh, not there. See him sprint out, picks up 8 with his legs. Throws another completion like George Kittle, and then runs again for another first down with his legs. And then has a nice completion. They get in scoring position, and they're on the 15-yard line. He moves to the left. It's not there. Comes back right, and with his eyes, and kind of throws across his body. It was he was kind of left, open here, and he just, boom, fires a fastball over the middle to Ray McLeod for a touchdown. So it was I thought that was very encouraging. I thought he was very strong the first day I was there. Very strong. I thought he was good. The first day. It was okay, if this is your quarterback, you're going to win games. You see the deep ball, you see the ability, you see all that. I thought he was accurate. That was solid. The next day, you see some misses, and you see the pick six, and then he finished extremely strong. You're like, all right, well, if we get this all the time, we're good. I'd say probably the biggest concern that you hear from people that have been there the entire time is just too much up and down for them. And when I say too much up and down, just you're going to see some misses. And again, it's tough because that wasn't the case when I was there. I mean, you saw some misses, but it wasn't anything that overshadowed the rest of his performances, which I thought overall were good. I mean, if I had to guess, because he completed what? And he had drops. He had a lot of drops. So on the second day I was there, again, the first day, he was 8 out of 12, had a drop by Turner. The second day, he was 11 of 19 and had like 3 drops. And I was very impressed with, because I was expecting to see like this fastball, throwing the ball hella hard. Okay, that's why maybe there's the wobble. But it wasn't that. I mean, this guy like just flat out dropped the ball. And it was really confusing. I mean, there were a lot of drops by the receivers, a lot of drops. Not by Aiyuk and not by Deebo, but yeah, the others though. They definitely was some drops. But he was like 11 and 19 with on day 2 with 2 drops. All right, so let's see, 11 and 19, 12, 8 and 12. All right, so we're talking about 19, 31, and if you add the drops in there, so if they don't have the drops, which I mean, I don't know how you take that out, but he completed 22 out of 31 passes, which I think you'd take. That's what I saw. Also, what I didn't see is things that can. I didn't see the gimmies so much, right? So it wasn't like he did things that can like boost his completion percentage. There weren't screens being thrown. You know, in the games, they're going to throw screens to Deebo Samuel, and you're going to have the misdirection screen type things. Like, I didn't see any of that to, like, fluff his completion percentage. Everything was literally a lot of, downfield shots, over the middle, drive throws, things like that. So, how will Kyle, scheme up certain things for just touches that can boost the completion percentage where the average depth of target isn't as far? Maybe he does that in the games. But I didn't see that in practice. There weren't the screens and all that to the running backs. All right. So we'll see if he does that. But I thought overall, while I was there, it was solid. Now, some people might say, oh, those are his 2 best practices. I don't know. Now, the next day, yesterday, not good, right? You hear about, interception. Didn't complete 50% of his passes. He had misses. I'd say where he could potentially get in trouble is maybe versus pressure. It looks like he knows where to go with the ball at times, but maybe footwork was good, but maybe I don't know why. I mean, just a miss or whatever. But overall, again, from what I saw, I thought Trey Lance is headed towards probably where they expect or is where they expected him to be, but not further along, right? So if you go in, it's like, oh, year 2, MVP season. I don't think I saw MVP season, but I did see someone who you can win games with, for sure. Again, that's from the 2 days I was there. So that's kind of a lot of my thoughts on what I saw from Trey Lance. I'd assume that him being able to utilize his legs more in a live game will even help. And I think one of my main takeaways is, and it was one of my main takeaways early on, but if you are expecting him to be this high volume passer, he's probably not that. There will be explosive plays, and likely he'll have to lean more on being a playmaker than Jimmy Garoppolo in the pocket. So if you see him do more, what we saw against Houston Texans, like that's what I'd expect for some of the season, where he has double slants to the left, bypasses that, moves to the right, throws a first down to Brandon Aiyuk. Like, I think you'll see things like that where he's able to do things just based on his ability. But I didn't see anything where I'm just like, oh man, 49ers can't win with this guy. So again, we'll continue to see how things go, and we all get to see him, and everybody gets to see training. We got a preseason game Friday, so I think you'll see and you'll have an idea of kind of where he's at and continue to kind of build on that. I think everybody talks about like Josh Allen and his trajectory, and I think Josh Allen as a passer is a more pure thrower, rocket arm, right? Vish and I before, I want to say right after he was drafted, leaned more towards Trey Lance, Dak Prescott. And if you look at how Dak Prescott had to win as a rookie, they leaned on the run game. He did a terrific job playing off of that and not having to force anything. We throw some downfield shots to Des Bryant. And it would be nice to have a Des Bryant where I don't feel like I have to be perfect throwing the ball down the field. I know I just have to throw in the area of a guy, and he's going to come down with it. That would probably be awesome for Trey Lance. But maybe Brandon Aiyuk can be that guy. But that wasn't Ayuk's strong point in college. It looked like he did a good job of that sometimes in training camp. But Dak Prescott, if y'all remember back to Dak Prescott's second year, it wasn't great. The first year he was able to lean on the run game. Second year, Zeke was out. I think they had some O-line issues as well. And you saw Dak Prescott's numbers really go down. And it was almost kind of a regression from year one to year two. So real quick, just some quick numbers on Dak Prescott in year two. Let's see. So he completed 62% of his passes, which was down from 67, almost 68. All right, only 3,300 yards, 22 touchdowns, 13 interceptions. If you were to tell me that was kind of along the lines of Trey Lance's numbers this year, I would believe you. Is that good enough for the 49ers to still be able to win? Again, that doesn't count rushing, which rushing, he had Prescott had 6 touchdowns. So that's a total of 28 touchdowns. I assume with the extra game, Lance's numbers are a little bit better than that. But yeah, something along those lines. And then we've seen the passer that Dak Prescott has kind of developed into now. But yeah, here we go. Appreciate everybody's in the chat right now. I'll get to the defense. Sudfeld is looking better. I'd say Sudfeld looks more comfortable. Just like, okay, just drop it back, throw the ball. Right? Like what he's saying. I'd say that. Sometimes that's, how can I put this? Brian Hoyer, if you ask most guys, right? If you ask most beat writers, etc., Brian Hoyer is the best quarterback that they've ever seen in practice. The best that they've ever seen in training camp, etc. And it's not really like, okay, I'm efficient in practice, so that's going to translate to the game. Obviously, you would like to see that, but in the real life, in the games, there's this playmaking element that you need, and Sudfeld doesn't have that. So if everything is perfect around him, right, I'm going up against second or third string defensive linemen. I'm going up against second, third string DBs. Then, in the actual game, then I think Sudfeld can definitely be a serviceable starter. But when it comes to like having to do certain things and make plays, I'm not sure Sudfeld is there. But I like Sudfeld as a passer. I know a lot of people are worried about, who's going to be the backup. What if Trey Lance gets hurt, etc. Sudfeld looks like he's a solid backup. Again, I don't know. The one time I've seen Sudfeld like really in the game, and Sudfeld had his weird moments too. But I'd say as the one time I saw him in the game, it wasn't like great when he played for Philadelphia, where he came in for Jalen Hurts. But I wouldn't say Sudfeld. I think if you're just like, you got to stand in the pocket and throw a pass, Sudfeld looks like the more comfortable passer right now. Appreciate everybody in the chat right now. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. My guy says, hey guys, Jimmy had 5 INTs in practice once. He did 5 on 5 consecutive throws. And again, those are some things that you don't know, right? Like I heard Kyle Shanahan talk about, and again, and I don't know about this case with Jimmy Garoppolo and his picks, but I heard Kyle Shanahan talk about how he wants Trey Lance to throw to a certain spot. And if the receiver isn't there, then they need to talk about, well, why aren't you there, right? So you might see an interception. This is Kyle, not me. So I saw somebody like, Croc, don't make excuses, etc. But this is Kyle Shanahan, not me. He wants Trey to throw to a certain spot, and if the receiver's not there, then it's on the receiver and Kyle and Lance to get on the same page with what they're thinking. And he wants him to kind of just let it rip. I'd assume that with training camp, he'll know exactly where Trey Lance is, how to call plays for him, what is Trey Lance comfortable with, what he's not comfortable with, and then that should lead to more efficiency, something like what we saw in the Houston Texans game. But I don't know. Trey Lance could suck, right? I mean, there's a scenario where he's not good. There's a scenario where he never reaches the ability of his third overall pick where he's drafted. Now, with guys like this, again, if you believe in development, which I'm a big believer in development depending on the person, then, okay, he's going to be fine. He's just got to take his lumps. If you're not a believer in development and you think that guy's coming to the NFL as what they are, then he will not reach the expectations for what you have for him. Yeah. I wouldn't say Trey Lance sucks. I wouldn't say that. I wouldn't say that at all. I didn't look at somebody that sucked. It was like you saw all the throws, you saw ability, boom, boom, hitting guys. Like you saw him using plays with his legs. It's just then you see a miss, then you see a drop, then you see a miss. But it didn't look like somebody that sucks. That's not what I took away from it. Stop being cheap, guys. Show Croc some love. Super chat. Oh man, I appreciate the love. I appreciate it. Shout out to everybody in the chat right now. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Let's get to the defense, man. And we talk about the quarterbacks. We talk about the receivers, etc. But I think part of it is the corners and defense in general really making it tough on the offense. Like this defense is legit, and that's the hard thing that you don't know, right? You have Trey Lance going against the ones, and then it's like, well, is Trey Lance just up and down, or is there a chance the defense is good, right? Like let's say Trey Lance every day is going 15-19 against the ones. What would you think about the defense? Would you say, well, Trey Lance is just that good? Or would you say, man, these DBs or defense, they can't cover, they can't do their job. They're not good. They're not the third overall defense that they were last year. And I'd say watching them in practice, they look like they are primed to be a top defense. Now, there were a couple times where they got gashed on some runs. And again, Ty Davis-Price, he was a guy who people were saying didn't look good. All of a sudden I show up and he's awesome, right? So he had 2 really good days while I was there. If I had to guess, he'd be the number 2 back for sure. Elijah Mitchell had ripped off some big runs. Again, he's playing with a good run blocking offensive line. They opened up some big gaping holes for him. That could be a little concerning with the defense. But overall, I thought the defense played fast. I thought the defense played very physical. I thought they were aggressive. I liked the energy that they brought. I think all that was really good. I thought that was really good. I'd assume that the 49ers have a really good defense. And that's what people are saying. I've had people tell me that they think this is the best defense since 2012. Now, is it? I don't know. That's a lie, right? And maybe they look better because they're going against an offense and an inexperienced quarterback. That can be very well a scenario. But if this defense is as good as they say, then I guess you can understand why there might be some injuries. I mean, excuse me. I guess you can see why there might be some downs on the offense. But the defense looks good. Linebackers are flying around. I talked about Azeez Al-Shaair on that wheel route covering Jermichael Hasty. I mean, just stride for stride, step for step. Talked about one of the deep throws to Deebo Samuel. And, I mean, you just have Emmanuel Mosley right there on that hip, right there. I mean, and even damn near a step ahead. I mean, the defense is playing very well. Guys like Travarius Ward, they're being extremely physical. I talked about the one-on-ones. Offense is supposed to win one-on-ones 90% of the time. And, I mean, they were struggling to get any separation, the receivers, in one-on-ones. The DBs were that challenging. I would say that the offense won probably 30% of one-on-ones. And that's one-on-ones where it's like, no, you have the upper hand. You have the upper hand. And I think that they were struggling. So it was really cool to see the defense and how well they look. Made life tough on the offense for sure. I can't wait to see these guys go against someone else. I can't wait to see them go up against You know, you got Green Bay Packers coming up. That's going to be exciting to just see what does the defense look like. I'd assume Aaron Rodgers won't play, so you get to see kind of Jordan Love out there. You know, we'll have some kind of gauge on what the defense looks like against them. And then you have the Minnesota Vikings. You're going to have the joint practices. We'll see if those guys play in the games, but I bet with the joint practices, we might not see starters in the game. We'll see. We'll see. I'm thinking about going. I don't know. I don't know yet. I don't know. Here we go. Double B Studio, what up? Croc, what's good, man? What's good? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Here we go. Will Brock Purdy make the roster? I would say no. Practice squad. Practice squad. I think they keep 2 guys. Traditionally, that's what he's done. Except for when you have like Mullins and Beathard, and it was like, remember, Mullins originally started off on practice squad, and then once it was like, hey, we like him, like he's a good backup, and they just couldn't cut C.J. Beathard, so they ended up keeping 3 guys. But I'd say ideally they're going to keep Trey Lance and Nate Sudfeld, and then Purdy potentially on the practice squad. Croc, stop saying he has drops. Every quarterback does. I say he has drops to add context to an incompletion, right? Because y'all are the ones, and everybody on media are keeping track of completions and incompletions. So if a guy goes, 10 of 16 and he had 3 drops, people just assume like, oh, well, he's just wildly inaccurate. He's throwing the ball all over the place. Like, no, he threw a ball on target and had a drop. So I'm just explaining what happened in practice. Now in the games, yeah, it don't matter. But in practice, in the sense of can a guy complete a pass or is he just wildly inaccurate, I would say there were drops that were right there on the money and the guy just flat out dropped the ball. So that's why I talk about the drops in practice. What's your anticipated game this year? Most anticipated? I'd say week 1. Playing against I'd say week 1. Yeah, you playing against Chicago. That's why, I'm excited. I'm anticipating that. I think that the 49ers have a terrific defense that's going to fly around. I'm excited because I get to watch Justin Fields. I really like Justin Fields, so get to see him in person. I think overall, just on the road, Chicago, I'll be there. That's definitely my most anticipated game. Can the 49ers get off to a good start? Yep. Appreciate everybody in the chat right now. We got almost 450 of y'all in here. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. Now is your opportunity to come on live. I talked more than I typically do, but here we go. It's 9:22. I got sessions at the top of the hour, so I have to get out a little bit before that. But there's the link right there. I'll put it again. Come on live. Come on live. Here we go. Let me copy paste. There we go. Space. Got a couple people in here already. All right. So, yeah, if you want to come on live, here we go. There you go. Got a few people in here. First up, I got Legs Gaming. Good morning, man. How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. How are you?
Oh, I'm chilling.
All right. Hey, so I was thinking about this the other day. I said something in one of the other channels' comments, and it made me really think about it. So I said I was predicting 4,500 yards thrown by Lance. Just, who am I? Just a regular fan.
Yeah.
I would love to see 4,500 yards. I
Right.
think Kittle, Deebo, and Aiyuk could all go over 1,000. All right. And someone's like, you're crazy. We're run first, and he's never going to throw for that many yards. And I was like, okay, yeah, we're run first. I get it. But we're a run first team, and Jimmy G threw for 4K.
Right.
So, there's a run first quarterback doing it. And
there's the extra game now, too.
And they were playing last place schedule, some lesser opponents. This season we're playing I think a better competition. Our defense is good, but let's see if they could shut out Herbert. Let's see if we could just run the ball and they can't get no points. Let's see if we could shut down Brady or shut down Mahomes. Let's see our team shut down all those guys so our team can run the ball that much. And I think that would be dope. But if our defense can't shut down some top quarterbacks in the league that everyone's saying Herbert and Mahomes are, right? If they can't shut them down and we have to throw it doesn't matter if we're a run first team. I think we're gonna have to throw the ball in some games this season. We can't just run over everybody, you know. So I honestly think our quarterback can throw for that many yards. And what do you think about that little debate?
Yeah, 45. Again, I
I
just
mean, that's
I don't
wishful
foresee
thinking. I
them.
would love to see it, but
Yeah, I would love to see it. I don't foresee that happening. But if you told me 4,000 yards, especially with the extra game, I could see that happening for sure. I saw someone in the chat say Jimmy never threw for 4,000. I think it was like 3,980 yards, right? He was like 20 yards shy of 4,000. So, we're hovering around there. And again, now you have an extra game. I would assume that Trey Lance would throw at the same kind of volume. Jimmy didn't throw a whole lot of passes. I'd assume that Trey Lance throws at similar volume. So, 25, 26 times a game, you could potentially see
I
that.
could
So,
see that. But I think Jimmy completed that with shorter air yards. So I think it's just going to boost up a little bit more because there's going to be more air yards this season. That's just what I'm thinking.
yeah, but I think the thing I try to look at is they're going to get similar production, but it just might look different, right?
Right.
So with Trey Lance, so with Jimmy, where it is more slant, catch, run, an 80-yard completion is an 80-yard completion. A 50-yard completion is a 50-yard completion, right? Whether it traveled 5 yards or whether it traveled 50 yards and still ended up being a 50-yard reception. So I'd assume that especially this early on, their production will be fairly similar. But hey, I appreciate you coming on. I'm gonna get to the next caller.
All right, later.
All right, thanks for coming on. Here we go. Up now, and I got some of my good homies in here. Gotta keep it a little tight today because I gotta go train these athletes. But here we go. We got Dion coming on. Good morning, Dion.
What's good with you, Crocker? How you doing, brother?
Oh man, I'm chilling, bro.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I've been hearing all the Trey Lance chatter, man, and I'm just gonna tell people this. Remember, the man is working with a makeshift offensive line. He has not had one time where they have had the full starters on that line all the way out there and ready to prepare and take on that defense. Every now and then McGlinchey isn't there. Every now and then Williams isn't there. They keep rotating the center between Brunskill and Jake Brindle. So just have patience with the young kid. Know that he's working with a makeshift offensive line, and just understand it, because that's what we're gonna deal with. I guess they want to do that all off season because they want to see what they have in these dudes. So preseason to tell you something, hopefully.
All right, yeah, and I don't think it's like a makeshift offensive line. Like, you're out there, and I remember, he had Trent Williams out there. He got McGlinchey out there. You do have some guys that are still learning. So Burford, right? He's taking pretty much like every snap at the left guard position with the ones. And,
they're not playing. I think Burford stole that right guard spot, which is why they're trying to force Brunskill on the field at center, because they see how well he's playing there. But
right guard. Yeah, I think I said left guard, but like right guard. He's taking every single snap there with the first group. So that's a young guy who he didn't play guard in college. He was an offensive tackle. He was like a left tackle, right? So having guys. So again, I wouldn't say makeshift. They are figuring some things out at the center position. But if I had to guess right now, their offensive line might be kind of set. You got Trent, McGlinchey on the outsides. And I think you're just gonna have Aaron Banks and Burford as the guards, and then we'll see what happens at center position with Brindle and Brunskill.
Yeah,
but
and that's basically what it is. But for the people that get a little iffy, and they're like, oh well, look at how bad he's looking. Like, remember, man, they haven't put that line in front of him consistently week in and week out during training camp for us to be able to make a clear assumption of what's going on and where his progression is. So, though it may not be full on makeshift, it's still plug and play, because there's lots of times where I'm hearing that, the real line, which I would think would be Williams, Banks, Brindle, Brunskill, and McGlinchey, are out there. And now it seems like it's going to be Burford at the right guard. So it'll be what it is. But everybody got to have patience with the kid and not try to, push too much on him. You know what I'm saying? Not expect
I'll say
work.
this. It's not, and I'll end on this with you, Dion, but
Yeah.
It's not the fans' job. Now, listen, if you come on here, then of course we're going to try to add context and perspective to where the 49ers are going and what they're doing. But it's not the fans' job to be patient with the development of a young guy. And I heard Kyle say it too, like, oh, I hope the fans are patient, whatever. No, most fans aren't going to be patient. You hear the word fanatic. So fans, they root for the 49ers, right? They root for the 49ers. They want to see the 49ers win. They don't really have to. Again, the ones that tune in here, obviously we try to bring different perspective. But if fans, I could see fans being very, with anyone, they go, their moods are up and down. How they feel about a player changes. It can change every day based on what happens in that game. So, I just think we see that a lot from fans. But I hear you, though, Dion. I'm going to get you out here and get the next person on.
All right, Croc, have a good day.
All right. Here we go. We got Medic Mike. Medic Mike, good morning, bro.
What's happening, man? How you doing, Croc?
Oh, I'm chilling.
Yes, sir. Just to touch on that last point before I forget real quick. Fans are up and down, and they can feel however they want. But that's also why people don't take not you, but fans' perspective seriously. Like, a lot of fans are ignorant about the process. Like, in the chat today, oh, god damn, I was having a hard time because, man, people are already trying to condemn the dude and, oh, he can't do this in practice. He can't do that in practice. His accuracy hasn't improved. You've seen 2 games out of this game. 2 games. You don't scheme up practice. The defense knows what you're doing a lot of times. You're going against a top-tier defense, which is giving fits to Aaron Rodgers. Like, I don't want to hear none of that. I want to hear it from the point of how's Trey progressing, how's he looking, his footwork, and in more of the technical aspects. But when people start getting into counting numbers and this, that, and the other, oh, he threw a pick here, he did this, he did that, you ain't seen him play. 1 game, relax, chill.
Right. I agree.
Also, I wanted to ask, how's Tavarius Moore looking? I know you're out there, and I heard some good stuff about him.
I wrote that down. I didn't get to him. It's tough because you end up, especially day one should have been the day where I took a lot of notes, but I just didn't. I went there and I just wanted to get what is my feel for it. I didn't want to keep track of completions and incompletions, even though I ended up doing kind of in my head. But I really wanted to just see what's my feeling about the team. And I walked away day one very encouraged. I thought the defense won plays. I thought the offense won plays. I thought Trey was good on third downs. I thought the defense did good in the other areas, right? Like, I thought the running backs did really good. They looked sweet, both running backs. And I just walked away thinking, this is a good football team, right? Day two, I had the same kind of feeling. So I kind of went in there more with the feeling or just kind of watching that as opposed to really taking notes. But Tavarius Moore, Saturday, one of those days he ran with the ones. So I thought it was just like Hufanga exclusively as a first safety, and he wasn't. It was Hufanga the next day, I believe, but I think Moore, or I might have it reversed. But one of those days. Now, how did he look every single time? Like, I don't know. I wasn't like specifically watching him, but I didn't see anything to where it's like, oh man, like, oh, he got whooped and that's Moore's fault. You feel me? So right now it seems like it's a battle, and we probably won't know until week 1 who the actual starter is between those guys, or maybe even in the third preseason game.
Gotcha. And the reason I asked is because we all know he has a ton of ability, and if he even starts to flash that or look like his old self with that range, I'm wondering if nickel, they're looking at possibly a 3 safety look and sliding Ward down to that nickel spot.
Yeah, well, right now it sounds like Denner's kind of taking control of that. We'll see if that continues, but it seems like they really like him there.
For sure. All right, thanks for having me on, Croc. Appreciate it, man.
All right, appreciate you coming on. Here we go. We got coming up now, I got Mr. Ryan. Oh, my bad. I'm going to change your display name. Mr. Ryan, good morning.
My guy, Croc, can you hear me good?
Oh, man, got you loud and clear.
Hey, my friend, good stuff. Appreciate you having me on. Hey, I want to talk about Trey a little bit, and I really feel like obviously everybody knows with him going up in practice against our phenomenal defense. Actually, I think it's going to be a historically good defense this year, to be honest. Everybody knows about our pass rush. Our secondary is as good as it's ever been. I think even with or without Jason Verrett, if we could get him back, I mean, come on, we start moving people around in the slot, and then I think it gets real silly. Our linebackers are great. I think personal vendetta, I think the opposing teams, like, they're really going to try to pound our middle because, I mean, everybody knows about our drop back game. Like, the quarterback really has no chance of being able to double hitch or anything like that. So I think they're really going to, like, test Kinlaw quite a bit. But if that holds up, I mean, it's going to be ridiculous for us, I think, defensively. And I say all that to say Trey Lance has been going up against that. I think, like Dion said, with the O-line not quite being makeshift, but, hey, we're going to take Trent Williams out. We're going to plug a rookie. We're going to take McGlinchey out. He's been having a
okay, so real quick, yesterday was most people noted as Trey Lance's worst practice. There was no McGlinchey or Trent Williams.
Right.
So that's not what I saw. Like, Friday and Saturday, he pretty much had what I thought would be his O-line.
Right.
Sunday, which was his worst, and he looked good. Sunday, which was his worst practice, he didn't have those guys. So I don't know. Is there a direct correlation there? I don't know. But that could, when you talk about guys coming in and out, maybe could kind of affect a young quarterback and his processing.
Absolutely. And I know you're short on time, but I think the underrated thing about Trey Lance, everyone talks about his running and his arm strength. Like, when that first rusher gets through, like, he has no chance. Trey always eludes him. He gets by him almost like a running back. Like, I'm gonna make the first guy miss regardless, and then he keeps his eyes downfield and he's able to make that pass. And I think when the line is set, when Shanahan is scheming, our running game is going, I think Trey Lance is gonna have a sneaky good year. I think we're gonna be just fine, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely can.
That's all I got, bro. I just wanted to get that off my chest. I appreciate you, man. You got a great show going on. It's great to see it continue to grow, and keep up the good work, my man.
Appreciate you, fam. All right, here we go. There was somebody that said no Bosa. Where was it? I saw someone say no Bosa, no Armstead. Oh, right here. So, yeah. So, no Bosa, no Armstead. But one thing I know about this 49ers defense, they are deep. So, you don't have Bosa, you don't have Armstead, but Drake Jackson's getting after it. Ebicam's getting after it. Aminahu's getting after it. Like, those guys are, like, consistently, which is great. That's good. That is good for the 49ers, right? Like, you want those guys to be good. And what it looks like, at least right now, it looks like they are good. It looks like Drake Jackson's good. It looks like Aminahu does a good job. Like, Ebicam, I remember several times him going by, tapping the quarterback on the butt. Like, okay, I probably would have been a sack. Like, the D-line is pretty loaded. And it doesn't stop with just Bosa or Armstead. They're going to have a terrific rotation of guys, for sure. Here we go. Got Gammon coming on. Good morning, Gammon.
Good morning. Can you hear me okay?
Got you good.
All right. So one of the first things I wanted to do is just say, please hit the like and subscribe button. Also, too, what I'm going to kind of do and start out with here is like just paint. We're all at kind of like a church setting, right? So I'm kind of asking to pass the plate. There's other ways to contribute to this channel besides just donating money. One of the things I'm going to do to make sure I don't miss anytime Croc comes on, right, is I'm going to ask my wife if she can subscribe, or if I can grab her cell phone and put the subscribe on her phone, and then vice versa. If there's something that she really enjoys watching and she doesn't want to miss, she can put it on my phone. That way we're kind of covering each other's backs on that. I'd like to see Croc at like at least like 12,000 subscribers. I think this community, we can get ourselves there. And then the next thing I'm going to jump on.
I'm getting close. I'm almost at 11,000. I think I'm like 50 shy of 11,000 or something. So we're getting there. We are getting there.
Absolutely. And that's the thing, folks, if you can, I encourage everybody to just with one person today at work, or if you're, wherever you're at, just be like, hey, have you seen this guy Croc? Go ahead and check him out. And like I said, I think that helps out a lot. Right. And this is a really good space for everyone to kind of talk and communicate. One of the things I want to talk about, though, and Medic Mike kind of brought it up, and then so did Dion, right? There's perception, perspective, and then there's like context. I think perspective is great during the regular season because we're all able to kind of like see it, hear it, and that sort of thing. What we're kind of relying on Croc here is his insight, because he keeps things in context, because we're not able to watch those practices. We're not able to watch the training, right? And all those things. So when somebody said, hey, perception, every quarterback deals with wide receiver drops. Yes, but that's why we have, Croc here, because he puts it in context. Trey Lance's wide receivers right now are dropping 21.8% of passes. That's one out of every five. And for a team that's not going to be passing a lot, that's kind of a big deal, especially with the way that we started off last season, right? So it's framing it properly and then putting it in context. And I think that's why. So if you see Croc kind of bringing up those points, it's not just a generic thing and just something to kind of just bump his gums and saying. It's because there's context kind of more behind that. But anyways, biggest thing is, please, guys, go out there.
Hold on, real quick, Gabby. And to add to that, it's also because I think when it comes to Trey Lance, if you see incompletions, I think most people assume it's a bad miss because there have been a bad miss, but like they're not all, there are times where he's completing passes. There's time where he's on target, throws a strike, and the guy just flat out drops it, right? So, the numbers, and that's why I hate the thought of in practice keeping track of completions and incompletions, because I don't think it tells nearly the full story of what's going on as it pertains to the development of a young quarterback. But I know that's what everybody's doing. And it's not just with 49ers camp. It's going on with, I see Davis Mills numbers all the time as well. I see Mac Jones numbers all the time. Like, so it's everywhere. That wasn't a thing when I was in the NFL. Like when I was with the Jets,
and that's the big thing is your insight, Croc, your ability to kind of paint the picture. I noticed that you go into a lot more elaborate detail, and I almost kind of, when you were talking about things today, and that's kind of where I kind of came up with this talking point, was because I really kind of felt like I was there mentally, just kind of just watching the practice or the plays that you were describing, because I'm not there, so it's hard for me to really kind of form or make some sort of a opinion. But again, I'm going to get off with this. Everybody, please, just mention this wonderful place, this community, to at least one person, and
tell a friend.
I think that'd be amazing. Thank you.
All right, I had somebody with the last name Crocker, comment. And he was like, "Man, I just found your show, man. I'm glad I found it. I'm a Niner fan." He's out, and I believe it was like South Carolina. Said he grew up about 15 minutes or so from Deebo Samuel, where he grew up. So, shout out to Croc. I saw the comment. I'm gonna have to comment back. But he said, "Hey man, just found the show." And I was like, what? That's awesome, man. That is awesome. Here we go. I got Wolf on, and Wolf, I know last episode wasn't able to get you on, but glad you're on now, man. Good morning.
Yeah, I appreciate you, bro. Good morning. Just to go off what Gammon was just saying, these guys just need to get out there and play catch with Lance, I think.
And they started doing that. So after practice, you see Deebo Samuel stay after, you see Aiyuk. So they are trying to, kind of playing catch up, working to continue to kind of create that chemistry and understand what each other is kind of thinking and expecting. And those are things that it does take a while to really get on the same page, right? You watch, and I'm curious to see what happens with Devontae Adams and Derek Carr, because when it came to Adams and Rodgers, like that connection, that cohesiveness, and Cooper Kupp and Matthew Stafford, and you hear about them showing up an hour or so before anyone else, and those two just locking themselves in the room, going on over film, and really just talking in depth at, hey, if you see this, okay, just do this, and they're really on that same page. And it almost makes Cooper Kupp virtually unguardable, because with him and his quarterback, there were times, I think it was in the 49er game as well, I saw Cooper Kupp strapped. He ran like this little end breaking route. The corner was all over him. And you see Stafford eyeing him, and then all of a sudden he just stops and goes the other way. Like, it was not a route. Like, he made it up on the fly. But if they're in the, before everybody else, and they're watching film and they're going over, hey, in this situation, if he's like this and he's underneath me, I'm just going to stop and go the other way. You just let it go. And I'm right there. So, those are things that these guys and Trey Lance, as he learns his receivers, and his receivers learn him, they can continue to kind of go over as well to kind of build that continuity.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, because I heard Deebo had stayed behind after practice after he dropped that long touchdown from Lance. Did you see anybody else that kind of stayed behind to work on just playing catch, basically, There
were a few guys. And I don't know exactly, I can't say. I know I saw Danny Gray stay after. But there were a lot of guys kind of staying after and working on different things. A lot of defensive backs, they were staying after 10 minutes or so to work on some footwork and things like that. So it looks like a lot of guys really open to figuring things out for themselves, whether they're on offense or defense.
That kind of makes sense because if you think about it, Aiyuk was dropping balls. He started playing catch with Lance after practice, and he started kind of amping it up in training camp. And then same thing with Deebo a little bit. Now Danny Gray's kind of showing up at camp too, it seems like.
Yep.
Yeah. So I was gonna ask you something real quick because I caught it a little late, so I apologize if you guys already touched on
feel
this.
free. Go ahead.
Yeah, they told us we can't wear headphones at work anymore, so I just got off work. So that's messed up. They caught me off guard, man.
Yeah, they're hating on you.
Yeah, hating on it, man. But so one of the questions I had with Lance was him putting together drives. I want to see long drives from him because we've seen the explosive plays. We have seen the drive he did before the half against Texans, but what do you see, and how often do you think he could do that?
Yeah, so there were a few different opportunities. I thought Friday he was much better at kind of the moving where they had third down situations, right? They truly set it up for a third down situation, and he converted. But then Saturday, he wasn't great early on in the move the ball, but then he had a 2-minute drill where he finished great. So I think that's definitely still a work in progress. What the 49ers are going to get, I have no idea, and I don't think even Kyle Shanahan does. But you just hope that he continues to kind of develop that aspect of his game. And as it pertains to even Jimmy Garoppolo, right? I think that's where Jimmy Garoppolo excelled. Jimmy wasn't like great on every single down. You just knew he's going to dice defenses up. But I had all the confidence in the world with Jimmy Garoppolo on third down. I thought he excelled there. And that's what continues to keep drives going. And that's where you're able to get points. People go back to 2017, and 49ers rattled off 5 straight wins with Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't think it was because Jimmy was just lighting the world on fire. But what he was doing a really good job of is he was the best quarterback in the league on third down. And what did that do? That kept drives going. He started 5 games, and in those 5 games, he threw 5 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Something like that, right? So it's not like he lit the world on fire with touchdowns, but he consistently moved the ball to where the 49ers were getting points, whether it was with field goals or getting in position to run for touchdown, whatever it was. He was really sharp on third down. That's the money down. And for the 49ers to win with Trey Lance, he's definitely going to have to be better in that element of his game as well.
Yeah, I feel the same way, man. Jimmy was always good in those clench your butt cheek moments.
Yeah.
Hey, but is there any way I can get in touch with you? Do you have an email posted or anything? Because I just started a channel. I want to see if I can get in touch with you.
Are you on social media at all?
Yeah.
Just
I have
DM me,
Instagram, Facebook.
and then DM me on Instagram or Twitter. You can find me Eric Crocker, not like to flex or anything, but just find the one with like a blue check mark, and just shoot me a DM, and then I'll give you my number or whatever.
Sounds good, bro. Take care, huh? Thank you.
You have a good one.
Look.
All right, here we go. We got Ant-Man real quick, and then I got Papa Dragon, the last one. Ant-Man, good morning, bro.
Good morning. How are you doing? Can you hear me?
Got you loud and clear.
Good. It was nice seeing you on practice on Friday. I saw you as we were entering into the gate, so it was pretty cool. I'm not concerned about Lance. I understand. Let's just let him have his ups and downs. Let him grow. That's cool. And I thought the practice was pretty cool. But I did want to ask you, just briefly, is it time to worry about Embry Thomas? Because I'm pretty sure you saw it there, and I heard Grant and Jason talking about how they were talking about like, oh, who was there on that route? Who missed that? Oh, it was Embry. I guess it was kind of like an ongoing joke. Not really the joke, but is it time to worry about Embry Thomas? I know you talked a lot about it towards the end of last season about his ups and downs. Like he's just there. Maybe he's not quite there. And of course, we saw the interception at the end of that Rams game. But what's your take on Embry Thomas?
I would say that I wouldn't be worried about it because if he's not doing well, he just won't be on the field, right? I think last year it's tough, right? You have guys go down with injuries. You had to play games without your top two cornerbacks. Most of the season, you definitely were missing Jason Verrett, damn near all season, right? So I think in that type of scenario where it's like, gosh, we got to resort to playing Josh Norman because this guy isn't ready and he's having his ups and downs in practice, whatever's going on. Well, now this year, you don't have to worry about that. So I wouldn't even worry about him. It's on him now. The ball's in Ambry Thomas's court. If he plays well, they'll figure out a role for him to be on the field. If not, then, well, okay, you got Mosley, you got Charvarius Ward, you got hopefully Jason Verrett coming back, and it sounds like Diamador Lenore, with the cornerback kind of getting an off day, Diamador Lenore took reps with the first group at outside cornerback. So I wouldn't even be worried about Ambry Thomas. I think they have a lot of other answers there. It's on him if he wants to get on the field.
Gotcha. Yeah, no, Ward looks pretty good. Of course, Mosley as well too. So, yeah, that was all. That was pretty much what I was thinking. I was just watching it and I was just seeing. Because I remember there was a rep where I think he got Brandon Aiyuk on the ground, but Aiyuk still came back up and he still caught the pass. So,
Yeah.
But anyway, hope you have a good day. Thank you for taking the call.
All right, you have a good one too, bro.
You too.
And real quick, shout out to everybody that was at training camp, man. Like, y'all show a lot of love and support. And I ran into people and it was so cool. And how can I put this? A lot of times I don't know how to take it. Like, I don't know how to like, Croc, what's up? Like, in front of a lot of people, because I'm not antisocial or anything like that. Like, I'm very social. I've been clear. I come on here and talk with y'all, but I don't know. I don't like the spotlight like that. But it was really cool for as much people to show love just randomly. You walk in, I heard people, yelling my name, Peacock's name, and stuff like that. That was great. That really shows that people appreciate the work. People love the content. So that was awesome. It had some people ask, for autographs, like that was cool. I went to Target in the morning. Somebody said, "Oh, Croc, going to training camp practice?" I'm like, "Yeah." You know what I'm saying? It's like, they didn't know me at training camp. Hell, I was on the way back from practice on the freeway. I mean, on about to hit the Altamont Pass. There's a lot of traffic. Somebody's honking the horn. Honk, honk, honk. I look over and dude was like, "Dude, I listen to you every day." He was just in like his like he was like a construction worker. It's like, "I listen to you every day." And I'm like, you know what? That's cool, man. Like, y'all really showed a lot of love. Y'all really showed a lot of love. So shout out to all y'all. Here we go. Got Papa Dragon, last one. Good morning, man. How you doing, bro?
Good morning. How are you, Croc?
Oh, I'm chilling.
It's good to see you. Looking good? Feeling good?
Feeling good. A few pounds heavier. So I gotta work on getting that off. About to train these athletes. I'm gonna have to give me a nice little workout in. Really watch what I eat, because I probably gained about 5 pounds while being in Cali.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. So I'm glad you got out there. Talk to me about our center position.
Center, it was tough because, and this is my mistake, and I know this. I know I'm supposed to focus when I go to training camp practices. I know I'm supposed to focus on one position group, and I found myself following the ball. And if you're following the ball, you're kind of watching everything, which means you're kind of watching nothing. You'll kind of see things that kind of pop out, but I literally can't tell you anything about the center position. I can tell you, like Burford, I watched him and I thought he was solid. I thought he could do a better job sometimes of staying on blocks when I was kind of focused in on him. But for the most part, I don't have anything in detail. Like, if I really gave you like a scouting report, I'd 100% be lying about the center position. So I don't want to speak too much on it. I will say, overall, I thought the pocket was collapsing fairly quick. Where was it collapsing from? Like, I remember my brother, he's a Steelers fan, and he was next to me. And he's like, "Damn, Lance can't even get to his second read without having to move." Right? So there was guys kind of getting in there. Why exactly? I don't know. I can't tell you where the issue is coming from.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I know you got to get ready to go, so I'm going to close it out with just a couple little tidbits. So the last time the 49ers went to the Super Bowl, we won 0.
Real quick, Papa Dragon, you're really low too, by the way.
Yep, sorry about that. I'm going to try to get closer. The last time we won 0 preseason games. We got blown out by the Eagles, yet we held that trophy up at the end of the season. It's a long season. A lot of games have to be played. Trey is going to have a rough time, but it's supposed to be like that. Period. To put it in perspective, the last 2 quarterbacks this defense faced was was Aaron Rodgers and Dak Prescott, and they didn't look too good. As a matter of fact, their numbers look very similar to Trey's numbers right now. So looking at numbers is not the whole story, folks. Let the kid learn, get behind him, support him. I believe he's got the head to weather this storm, and he will grow into his arm, just like all the other quarterbacks have grown into their arms. Aaron Rodgers wasn't Aaron Rodgers coming out of college. Joe Montana wasn't Joe Montana when he came out of college. Lord, we all know Tom Brady wasn't Tom Brady when he came out of the combine. Everybody goes through changes and improves, but it's all about wanting to improve and wanting to get better. And this kid has that. He will get better. He's got a great team. They got to protect him better. And I have no doubt his head is good and his arm will catch up. And you probably see a very, very similar growth to Josh Allen. And if you look at his mechanics are all over the place. But the difference is that the ball is going where he wants the ball to go. So I think overall, you know, if you're going to be negative, if you're going to hate, I mean, you know, that's fine. Let your acid build up in your body. Let your blood pressure get out of control over a game that you can't control. The Niners would be fine. Still concerned about the center position. Someone asked me recently, what's up with the center? And I was saying the same thing. And then a buddy of mine who works in the agency industry talked about J.C. Tretter. And he's like, look, man, he goes, there's players right now that have a certain stigma. If you have a high price tag and an injury stigma, you're at home right now. And J.C. Tretter is that way, and so is Jimmy Garoppolo. So the reality is that Trey's our guy. We got to roll with him, Croc.
Yep.
You know? So how did those safeties look? I heard you talking about Moore a little bit. Did you see Huff?
Yeah, but again, if I
I
said that I was specifically focused on the safeties, I'd be lying. I was focused more so. I was following the ball, and I was just kind of seeing what kind of stood out to me, what popped, and really just trying to get the general feel of where the team was. And I think that overall, my thoughts were, this is a really good team for a quarterback that needs to come along and develop, and he's definitely good enough to be able to take advantage of what he has with his team, which is a terrific run game, terrific defense. And that was kind of really my major takeaway for a guy who's young and inexperienced. But I got to get running, Papa Dragon. I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, man, anytime. We'll holler at you. Hey, people, make sure you like and subscribe.
Yeah. All right. You have a good one. I appreciate everyone in the chat right now. Hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button if you like this show. We'll be right back here tomorrow morning. Also, tomorrow evening, first QB Monday install with my guy, Greg Pinelli. So make sure y'all tune into that. And obviously Wednesday, I have Tracy Sandler joining as well as we get closer to 49ers preseason game Friday against the Green Bay Packers. Can't wait for that. But that's going to do it for this show. Appreciate y'all. And I'll see y'all tomorrow morning. Same time, same place, 9:30 a.m. Eastern time, 6:30 a.m. Pacific time. Until then, I'm out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Hey, real quick, because I just saw a comment in the chat, and somebody talked about the 49ers. I know they signed Willie Snead. Or not Willie Snead. Yeah, that's it, offensive tackle. But they signed Snead, the receiver. And I got to watch the receivers work out. The fans that were there kind of still hanging out. You got to see the tryout guys. And there was one guy, gosh, I can't think of his name right now. But I thought he was the best receiver there at the workout. It wasn't Dede Westbrook. It wasn't Snead. It was, and am I saying that right? Snead, right? That's the receiver the 49ers signed. What receiver the 49ers signed? All right, light-skinned dude, played with Baltimore, played with the Saints. Can't think of his name right now. But anyways, the best guy there, in my opinion, was this receiver. Gosh, he looked just like Jerry Jeudy out there. I was like, damn, how come they didn't sign him? But anyways, I just had to come in there and talk. I think it had to do with him being too small, maybe not being like a run blocker, and I think Snead is someone who can do that. So anyways, all right, now I'm out. Peace.
Intercepted. It is picked off by Eric Crocker. Over midfield, he'll run it all the way into the end zone. Touchdown.
Crock Talk TV podcast. Peace.